Today we are going to build what I hope is the ultimate wireless N64 controller and pit it up against a real Nintendo 64 and the Nintendo Switch. So the base canvas for this ultimate wireless N64 controller is this nice blue and white shell that I got from Muramasa last time I went and visited. And then, of course, we're installing the 8BitDo mod kit into this, and we're going to be testing it on the Switch as well as N64 using the Retro Time Blue Retro adapter. But since this shell was a blank canvas, we have gotten replacement buttons with new replacement pads from Rocker Gaming, along with the Tactile R, L, and Z mods that we're going to install on this thing just for the fun of it all. So this is going to be great. Let's dive in. Alright, so I'm going to start by installing these tactile triggers into the 8BitDo mod board first. So just got to desolder these ones and then simple swap in. Should be good to go. Oh, here we go. We'll just get some of our little nice desoldering wick going here. Alright. So there we go. Top and bottom. Now where's that right trigger at? Alright, so there we go. Not the prettiest, but it'll get the job done. So that's all I need for now. So now we'll go ahead and do that to the other side. Alright, so that should get the job done. Again, I'm not a very good soldering person, so not claiming to be. Alright, now for our Z trigger. Same deal. So this one already has some pre-10 leads on it. So we're just going to go ahead and desolder the entire thing from the board this time. Gotta be careful around that battery though. Alright, so there we go. Tactile mods installed. Not prettily, not very pretty, but there they are. So now we'll go ahead and get it put into the shell. Get our Z trigger installed first. Alright, now to assemble the controller. So for now we're going to be using the 8BitDo Hall Effect stick. We know that this is an above average replacement option for anyone that's looking for a GameCube style stick. It offers pretty close results to an OEM stick in terms of ranges and steppings, so it's a really good choice. But I will like to switch this out for the new Rocker Gaming control stick that has been announced when that comes, but for now this will suffice. We'll just go ahead and get this screwed down first and then move on to the actual main board and buttons. Excellent. Alright, now for buttons. Alright, there we go. And now for our replacement membranes. Whoop. Alright, so we're not going to need the ones for the triggers, but here we go. A, B, and C buttons. And D-pad. And then the last one for our start button right there. And so now we could just go ahead and fit the mod kit into position, just like so. And there we go. Just want to make sure nothing's sticking on any of these, and feels really great. But yeah, that's gonna be really pretty to look at when we're finished. Just gonna clean the inside of this up a little bit more real quick before we continue on. Alright, that looks a little bit better. But anyway, it's interesting that the mod kit has the control stick connector oriented differently than the OEM one. So the OEM one was right here where the Bluetooth module is. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that we need to move things over. But that is not behaving as well as I would like. I probably should have waited to put it in first, but then screwed it down, but whatever. We did what we did. Yep, that was the secret. We were just putting it in on the wrong side because we're used to the other way. Whatever. There it is. Now we just gotta pull this all out of the way so we can actually fit our Z button in there where it needs to go. There we go. So the Z button will just go right in here. So we just pull it aside a little bit, and there we go. Now we'll get the R and L buttons oriented. And there we go. Alright, so now we'll just go ahead and get this put in. Looks like I should have probably put this in along with the board. Yep, just like that. There we go. Okay. Not a big deal. So there we go. Now we don't have a gaping hole in the top of the controller, and it matches the color scheme we're going for with this one. Now we'll put our R and L triggers in. I already put the trigger, or the spacers in for the mod itself. Alright, looks like I need to adjust that one a little bit. Try the left one again, or real quick. Yeah, left one's perfect. So I need to adjust the right one a little bit, but the left one is golden. Now we've got perfect tactical R and L and Z. Tactile, tactical, wow. There we go. So that is now fully completed. Let's go ahead and screw it down. And there we go, fully assembled. Well, one last thing to do. The 8BitDo Rumble Pack thing here. And there it is. Perfect. So, fully assembled. Everything is feeling awesome. These tactile mods are very clicky. That feels great. And these new membranes feel really punchy. This is going to be fun. All right. Let's go ahead and give it a test. And we're going to go ahead and start out with N64 with the Retro Time Blue Retro adapter. So, let's do it. Went ahead and decided to get this thing updated to the latest firmware just to be on the safe side. Been a few versions since this one. So, there we go. This will take a while. Alright, so here we are in the controller input tester on N64. So, just going to check all of our buttons here. D-pad left, right, down, up, A, B, Z, start, LR, C left, C right, down, and up. So all of our buttons are registering as we need, but one interesting thing to note is we can't push all the C buttons down at the same time. It will just stop registering them, so curious. We could do 2 at a time. can't do 3 at a time. If you do ones on opposite directions, it cancels each other out. Okay, so that's interesting. Whatever, shouldn't be a big deal. Now for the stick test. So, here we go. We're hitting a range of 84, so a little above normal N64 range, but not terrible. But those diagonals are definitely going above real N64 range now, whereas when you plug this into an actual N64 controller, they were pretty much spot on. So this is definitely not reading the same as it does on an actual N64 controller using the same stick modules. So something within the Bluetooth transmission is definitely different, whether it's on the Blue Retro side or the 8BitDo side. I'm not sure, but that is not hitting the same diagonal ranges we see when paired with the real controller, but whatever. Just means that things will be a bit more sensitive on the diagonals. Shouldn't be exceptionally deal-breaking, especially if you're already planning on using a Bluetooth controller in the first place. You're going to get more latency added in than on a wired controller, so if this is the type of mod you're going for, you're willing to accept a few concessions, and this will be one of them. But now we can take a quick look at the steppings real quick in the SANI controller testers. So when we do short little steps, we've got pretty good recognition on where the stick is going. Quick movements. It's skipping quite a few values here, so this is definitely not as good as when you use the stick in just a standard wired N64 controller. You can see that we have more of a square gating going on here too, so not quite as happy with this as I was hoping to be. Alright, time to do some gameplay test here, just to see how much these ranges will affect things. And so far, things are feeling slightly off to my muscle memory for Rogue Squadron here, so not liking this experience so far. I mean, I might need to get used to it, but things just don't feel as precise. Alright, so thankfully the stick ranges aren't feeling too problematic at the moment. But it just feels off enough that it's really screwing with me. Getting more used to it, I guess. Alright, so that didn't feel as good as I was hoping it would, sadly. I don't know if it comes down to input latency or just the stick ranges being off. I need to dive into this a bit more. We were able to still pull off the gold medal at least, but it just did not feel anywhere near as good as normal. I don't know. I don't know about that. Alright, time for our wonderful Goldeneye 007 aim test, so feels okay so far. Those diagonals aren't getting too ridiculously out of hand. Bit more than they're supposed to be, but added sensitivity can be beneficial in some rare cases, I guess. Matter of personal preference, that's for sure. Okay, so yep. So yep, we've got all of our diagonal turn capabilities. Alright, so that's passable for the most part. Still not as good as this stick performs when you actually put it in a real wired controller, but it's adequate. Definitely adequate. Alright, so those Z and R tactical mods do feel really nice. Alright, so the stick is able to perform smash attacks still, so we don't have to worry about that. But, yeah, quick movements are definitely feeling a tad off. Alright, now for our wonderful stick dead zone test. That's still working pretty okay-ish for this stick. Got pretty similar results on when we had it in a wired controller as well. Not perfect, but should be more than good enough for the casual player. And then movement build up. Yep. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all, I guess, for Mario 64. So now we've got the controller with the mod kit installed, hooked up to the Switch to give it a quick little run through on the N64 app. And just initial first impressions, it's a lot more sensitive in here on the absolute axis. So it's very interesting. And unfortunately, the diagonal ranges are just not what they are when you use it with the blue retro adapter on the N64. So we get partially good turn there, and just not a very good turn there. No downward movement here. Like, it's just not... It's not good stuff. It's not great. Like, it's passable, but it's not great. Now, it's cool that we have the extra buttons to do all of these extra features. But yeah, if you buy this mod kit expecting it to be like a pretty good option for N64 gaming on the Nintendo Switch Online service, it's just... It's not... It would not be my first choice. Alright, now just for a quick spin attack test in Zelda. Yeah... I know I'm not very good at these to begin with, but this feels a lot more inconsistent than it should. There we go. There we go. There we go. We lost it. There we go. Yeah, I'm not liking this for Switch. But at least one cool benefit is it does show up as an official N64 controller, so you get the special sound effects as you use it. But yeah, again, if you are buying this mod kit to put into an actual N64 controller and expecting it to give you good performance on Switch, it's not the best. Oh well. Alright, so there we go. We have built the 8BitDo mod kit ultimate wireless controller, so I was hoping, but first impressions are fairly lackluster to say the least. If I was going to spend this much money on an N64 controller, it would be just to buy either a Retro Fighters Brawler 64 Wireless or Wireless Tribute 64 from Retrobit. Like, those work better on Switch than this guy does, and their performance on real hardware is pretty admirable, even though, again, doesn't match up one-to-one with OEM. So if you're looking for a classic N64 controller feel, just stick with a wired controller. This mod kit is... First impressions do not leave me optimistic for this, but we're going to mess around with this one a bit longer, see if there's anything else that might be interesting about it. We're going to try it on PC emulation as well, but thumbstick performance is just not what I want it to be, and I don't know. Like, I'm loving everything else about this controller, but I might just turn it back into a wired one, to be honest. Like, put these clicky Z buttons and R and L buttons into something that's a little bit better for N64 gaming. But, I don't know. We'll make a full review video for this sometime in the future. But first impressions of this one are to just honestly avoid it. There's just not enough good performance out of this to justify it over something that would be cheaper overall, like, the Brawler and the Tribute 64. And even getting a controller adapter for real N64 controllers for your Switch, if you're so determined to play it on the Switch itself, that would definitely be a much better option. But we're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you so much for watching. Usual favors, we're not going to go over it all. I just don't have enough. Whatever. Till next video, everybody. Keep playing games, stay awesome. Later.